Hey, Desiree here with Soulpath Astrology and this week's Astro Energy Report and three-card tarot spread. Welcome to this week's Astro Energy Report. Quick little download, what you can expect, the energy report followed by brief meditation, opportunity to select from one, two, or three of the tarot cards, which you can then timestamp over to if you'd like to just skip over to the one that's pertinent to you. Listen all three, do whatever feels the most alive and good for you. Following that, and I do recommend that everyone does watch to the end, there is a nugget of love that wraps everything up that you can take with as you move into the week ahead. Lastly, if you do like these videos, please hit that like button. It helps so much with the algorithm. It helps for my self-esteem. It helps for just generally letting me know what you are enjoying and what you're not. If you have comments to add to it, I absolutely love reading those. And if you haven't yet, please do subscribe to the channel. It's a big deal to have that subscription list grow so that I can grow the channel and we can reach more people and coalesce this beautiful amalgamation of love that we're building over here. Okay, without further ado, let's jump into the Astros. Obviously, this week's big news, March 3rd, the total lunar eclipse that is happening in Virgo. This is so juicy. It's so potent. It also charges up the Pisces end of the axis because that's how these work. So we've got Pisces and Virgo both activated right now. This is dreamy. This is snake shedding its skin. Lunar. This is our emotions. Eclipses, to quote one of my deepest trusted mentors, Astrolata. I love her work. She refers to this as like when the veil is thin between the subconscious and the conscious. March 3rd marks a really potent opportunity for you to get clarity without even really trying on certain patterns that have been running the show for you, on inner stuff that's been in the background. Maybe they have to do with how you show up in relationships. Maybe it has to do with your belief systems around food, clothing, shelter, daily habits. I like leaning on Virgo type stuff here since it is happening in Virgo. Where are you feeling things around daily habits? And I say feeling because it's the moon, right? This is our inner workings. It's also representing the feminine aspect. So nurturing, warmth, loving. Maybe it is your actual mother. Maybe it's your own maternal self. Maybe it's sisters. Maybe it's your creative work. What's coming up for you that's been running your show subconsciously that you're so ready to just consciously choose to do otherwise, to do differently? There's a deep call for me. And so this is what I'm going to speak to about embodying of spirituality coming in and being grounded. So Pisces, coming in through Virgo and grounding it in an embodied, physical, tangible way, trusting my body's wisdom to be the barometer for what I'm capable of, rather than allowing my guilt to lead the show or my logic to tell me that I ought to feel this way or that way. Instead, I'm actually meeting my body at her very real capacity and showing up for that, creating a work schedule around that, eating for around that. That's the sort of thing that I'm talking about with that Virgo energy. So, what might it be for you? That's what's really going on. Honestly, every day between today and next Tuesday, there's something going on with astrology. I don't really want to get into way too many details of it because it just gets to be overwhelming. But just know that there's this very busy, very energized week ahead of us, but that it's so laced with a lot of nurturing and a lot of love and a lot of like softness to ease us forward, in particular, if we do slow down to listen to our body's wisdom and what's it telling us. One of the things that came up was this recognition of, I'm like, I use food to stimulate myself. Like, I stim with food. Who else does that? Who else will like snack on salty or sweet things because you're not hungry. And it's not even really that you're necessarily trying to eat your feelings. You're literally looking for stimulation, looking for pleasure. And can you find a more direct or more nourishing in a healthy way kind of method of feeding that need? So that's been something for me to contemplate. What might your version of that be? On the 5th, the sun trines Jupiter. So the sun will be in Pisces, Jupiter's in Cancer. And there is this like, oh, and the sun has a positive aspect. So either a trine or a sextile or a conjunction with Jupiter. It's like so full of good luck. It's so full of love. It's so full of that soft. I mean, Jupiter in Cancer, she just loves being, Cancer loves, or Jupiter loves being in Cancer. It's very nurturing, very warm, very loving. And the sun being in Pisces is like, what is it that needs and wants to offer grace? Like, how can you bring in more like dreamy, loving, creative, boundarylessness into your day? On the 5th, that might be a really good day if you're into psychedelics to do a journey, a really like deliberate journey, or maybe do some breath work or create some kind of a ritual for you to connect with spirit, with source, with your deep, like to consciously work with your unconscious. It might be a really good day for that. And just really, setting the intention for it to be positive and for your growth, not just personally, but for the greater collective. Yeah. Yeah. On the 6th, Venus moves into Aries. This is so passionate. This is good for Aries, all Aries, by the way, sun, moon, or rising. If you are that, you're going to really enjoy this day. March 6th really energizes as Mars moves into that, or Venus moves into Aries. It's like because Aries is ruled by Mars, it's very action oriented, and Venus is all things love and beauty and like, and so as it moves into Aries, it gets charged with initiative and with passion and with fire. And there can be a combination there of like getting like a lover's quarrel, like so Aries being the quarrel and Venus being the lovers. So my recommendation is like before you speak, especially because Mercury's retrograde right now too, before you speak, like just come back into your heart and engage curiosity. So this is the other theme that's been coming up a lot for me lately, and maybe you, is noticing the habit of feeling critical or criticized, and that's that Virgo energy too, right? Where this lunar eclipse is happening. Where is this being shown where there's maybe some internalized criticism that your initial response is to want to get really defensive around? And can you invite in instead the defensiveness? Can you invite in curiosity? Because there's something so soothing, so Venetian, so Venus like about curiosity that can just smooth it right over. And in that containment, that milieu of curiosity, then the truth of what's needing to be said or the truth of what's going to feel most nurturing for you. And if you're in a state of feeling nurtured, not self-defended, but nurtured. And this is such a potent distinction, you guys. Like this is the like thing that's been my opening into this week's like growth curve is that distinction. So last week it was the assertive versus aggressive distinction. This week it's that self understanding, that curiosity, and that self nurturing versus self defense. It's so different. The nurturing is like it allows in conversation, it allows in collaboration. Self defense creates fighting, it creates everybody trying to prove their point, it creates separation, right? And so learning to discern the difference, because if you have self care, if you're curious, if you're showing up from a self nurturing standpoint, you're not self abandoning to avoid conflict. Quite the opposite. You're really deeply arriving for yourself, but with a soft and open heart to lean into collaboration. So conflict versus collaboration, right? Because collaboration can have some mismatches. There can be some friction or tension in collaboration. That's where the growth happens if it's brought in, if the objective is to seek collaboration as opposed to competition. If the objective is to seek that self soothing and that self-compassion, and have the other person also meet themselves in self-compassion. And how do you bring those together? So yeah, that's this week's energy. There's more going on, but we're going to just leave it at that because it's like the really beautiful broad strokes of it. Yeah, that just feels so good. Okay, let's drop into this week's meditation. Arriving here in the space right now, arriving into your body, I just really want to invite you to notice your breath, not to change it, simply to become aware of it. Noticing the feel of your pelvis, your sit bones, and your seat, the counter pressure of whatever you're sitting on, how it's supporting you. Maybe your feet are on the ground and you're really noticing that solidity beneath your feet. Inviting your shoulders to drop down from your ears, your jaw to soften. That space between our eyes that like to furrow together in consternation and WTF. I invite you to soften that just consciously. Breathe some softness in between your eyes. And now, becoming very deliberate about our breathing, I invite you to take in a big, deep breath in for the count of 4. And exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll do 2 more of those. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last one we'll do silent. You can just count in your own head. And when you're ready, I invite you back here with me. Okay, here's this week's cards. Here's this week's cards. Card 1, card 2, card 3. 1, 2, 3. Which ones or one calls to you? This was your selection, card 1. This is what you've got. The 3 of Cups. Oh, the 3 of Cups. She's so collaborative. Oh, this speaks so beautifully to what I was just speaking to about collaborating and self-nourishing and self-care and inviting the other in, because from that deep place of self-care, you can invite in the other, right? Because if you're defensive, you're going to call in defense. If you're, hey, I'm nurturing me, I'd like you to nurture you too. Totally different kettle of fish, right? This is a whole different energetic space. What else can I say about the 3 of Cups? So she's like, it's the 3 muses. There's passion here. There's creativity. There's beauty, all that Venus type stuff. There's charisma, right? And this is like, the 3s are always collaborative. Like there's a quality of like dynamism and movement in them. And because it's cups, this is about feelings. This is about emotions. This is like creating the vibe. And there's a quality of like elevating the vibe with this card. Maybe you're being called to elevate the vibe. Maybe that's what you're pitching, is that, I'm thinking of myself. Like, that's what I do. I come in and I elevate the vibe in your space, right? But to do that, it's not a one-man job, right? A one-woman job. It's collaborative. It requires many people to dance and spirit, right? Where 2 or more shall gather, I'll be there, right? So inviting in spirit, inviting in the muse, and allowing what feels good, what feels passionate, what feels like, I don't know, like alive to come into the space, what feels colorful, what feels good, actually, what emotionally feels good, but what tangibly feels good too, from a texture standpoint, from a lighting standpoint, from a smell standpoint, right? From a visual standpoint. Yeah, there's the 3 of Cups. Card 2, if this was your selection, this is what you got, the 3 of Pentacles. So the masculine counterpoint in many respects. This is about the container. This is about the logical collaborating, where Cups was the feels. This is the logistics. This is creating a plan together and creating a container, because when they're, you know how they say fences make for good neighbors, it's because containment makes for great creativity. Otherwise, it gets too lost in the weeds, right? And so the Three of Pentacles, it's like there's a collaborative nature around it in the logistics, in a degree of the planning, the details. Yeah, what else can I say? Oh, there's kind of a quality too of like wise mentorship with mentees, right? Like if you look at the imagery, you've got some old people and new people, and they're teaching. It's an apprenticeship about how to build, these glass. This is in a cathedral, right? Like this is that the glass, what do you call that? Stained glass, right? So they're teaching a mentee how to do the stained glass, how to work together, and what the plan is for it. So that would be that kind of energy. So where in your life might you be called to either have a learner's mindset, or perhaps to be the one in leadership who is delegating some things, who's teaching, who's passing on your wisdom? And to always remember with the threes, there's a quality of lightness, a quality of playfulness, a quality of like dynamism, flexibility, and movement about it, even though it's pentacles, which is like, you know, but it's allowing pivot to come in, allowing some fun to color it a bit. So yeah, I hope that landed. Yeah, that's it for that. Okay, last but never least, the third card, we got the Knight of Pentacles. So two Pentacle cards this week. I guess, it's about that tangibility, that physicality, and about money, about the home, about habits, about Virgo, right? It's Earth sign, the Knight of Pentacles. So this shows up when sometimes it's an acknowledgement that things maybe aren't unfolding quite as quickly as you were hoping to. It's an invitation to keep your eye on the long game. The Knight of Pentacles is like the slow and steady wins the race energy. That's what he's about. And so to trust that maybe, to reference the other two cards, maybe there is, you're wanting to create a certain feel, but it's requiring a certain rejigging of the details of it. So it's not moving as like fluidly as you were hoping, but the Knight of Pentacles is saying, that's okay. Trust the process. Just be clear on what it is that you're about. Be clear about what the feeling is that you want to establish. Be clear about the container. This is so three feelings, Three of Cups. Be clear about the container, Three of Pentacles, and trust the process that's going on to create that. That it might take a little longer. It might take a few more back and forths with communication. It might take a little bit more reworking of the more finer details to get it to happen. But trust that it will happen if you can keep that long game in mind. So that's how these cards are working. And finally, our final nugget of love. What can we say about this week and the energy? Wants to come through. Just know thyself, love on thyself. Understand that what you physically need and what you want to provide is so beautiful and perfect, and it may not be beautiful and perfect for everyone. And it's never our job to sell ourselves on anyone, nor is it their job to sell themselves on us. If it feels like a natural fit, if expressing yourself and like making sure that you're calibrating, that's another thing about the suit of pentacles, is like the word calibration or calibrating. Like, be precise, calibrate with yourself, and then ground and center. Don't be coming from heightened emotions, but like, what is it you're actually ready to show up for? What is it that you provide? And be very clear about that, and allow others, without any shame or any attacking of them, allow them to figure out also for themselves what they're needing, what they're wanting, what they're available for, and if it's a connected match or not. It's our job to articulate what we're offering clearly. And with Mercury in retrograde right now, that might be a little bit problematic. Whatever challenges you're having to that effect, instead of getting bent out of shape about them, recognize it's actually an invitation for you to deepen your own clarity and your own understanding about your own capacity, and to get even clearer about expressing it. Women, this is connect with your needs, connect with your wants, and get clear about expressing them. We don't need to couch it with a bunch of flowery language. You don't need to worry about how the other person is going to receive it. Just make sure that you're speaking your truth from a grounded, centered, loving place, self-compassionate place, not self-defensive, and trust the rest of it will work out. That from that, if you're coming from there, you're creating an invitation for others to meet you there. They may not, but at least the invitation is there energetically. And often verbally, like the right language just emerges from that place to evoke and invite to be, the other to meet you in kind. Yeah. So it's clarifying. And when you're grounded and centered in yourself, when you're not defensive, because being defensive is very wobbly, right? So when you're centered and you're not wobbly, everything else feels much safer, much more secure, much more predictable. And that container allows for some fun and beautiful creative play to happen within it. So there's your going forward this week. I hope that you have a beautiful week. Please, like I said, comment if you want to deep dive and get a personal reading, because of course these are so general, right? You know where to find me. There's a link to my calendar in the description of the video, as well as a pinned comment. Of course, you can just DM me direct if you want to talk about that. More than happy to explain even what you can expect with that stuff if you're wondering. I love answering your questions. In the meantime, my beautiful, fabulous soul family friends, I love you, and I hope you have a fabulous week, and we'll see you next Tuesday.